Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about 5 Points Season 2, the Rundown Review. I just now finally watched this, and I can honestly say I don't like it. Like, it wasn't as raw, hard-hitting as the first season. There's a lot about this season I just do not like whatsoever. Like, one thing that kind of bugged me is you can tell that it was written differently. The person who created the show, who wrote the episodes last season, did not write the ones this season. A lot of fans say they liked the second season a lot more than the first. The only thing about the second season that is good is like how it's kind of hard to explain. It's not how it's filmed. It doesn't bop around like the first season does. I remember how I said everything was kind of like filmed out of order and everything. It's not like that here. That's the only good thing about the second season. Also, the people's acting that I had a problem with in the last season have now gotten way better in the second. Especially Madison. She has finally controlled her eyes. This is probably the best acting of hers I have ever seen in any of the few projects that I have seen her in. Now I'm curious to see her in the All-Girls American Pie movie. However, I don't like watching the American Pie spinoffs. I've tried in the past. I just can't do it. I can't even finish them. But I am curious to see her in it and stuff like that. Seeing how the movies focus more on her. So it's kind of like, I'm just kind of curious. I will say that the story in this, the second season, is good. Don't get me wrong. Like, the second season mainly revolves around the new character, Analda. Analda is the girl who pissed off Tosh by having the baby with Eric. The one who had like a small, like teeny tiny role in the first season. It's all about her this season. Even when it's about episodes about other people, it's still about her. It's still 10 episodes, but however, they're shorter now. The first one's 11 minutes. The last one is 14, and every other episode is 8. Something strange that happened this season. Okay, so it still revolves around 5 people. Tosh, Analda, Lexi, Wallace, and CJ. And what's interesting is that, Analda has 3 episodes dedicated to her. And Wallace only has 1, and everybody else has 2. However, all of the guys in this are basically secondary characters. Even Wallace and CJ are secondary characters to that of the females. There's even a part in the last episode where 3 of the main females walk sync by sync and do kind of like that I forgot what they kind of call it. They're synchronized walking. And it's just a weird thing. Like, I don't get that. Also, there's only really 3 main storylines in this entire season. In the last season, there were more storylines going on, and it was a lot more hard hitting. It was a lot raw. It was very down deep to earth. This one is mostly just a generic thing. In fact, I've seen this storyline before that was done a million times better. Now, let me get into something else. Everything that happened in the first season, you don't have to watch the first season to figure out what happened in the second. It's basically non-existent, which is very troubling in everything. Like, all that stuff about CJ stealing the guns and his family being poor and getting evicted. Everything about Wallace getting beat up by Alex and everything. Tosh being super spoiled and the whole Eric thing with the gun and the Lexi and the gun fire and everything. Forget any of that happened. Like, it's barely mentioned in this season. We get, like, in the Tosh episode, we get flashbacks of Eric, but they're only like very quick flashbacks and that's it. Nothing new, just old footage. And it's just like nobody, it's just like 4 months has passed by since then, and nobody really brings it up. Nobody is dwelling on it. Nobody, life is affected by it. It's like they all have new storylines now, and it just makes no sense. How can you build up something like that that was so powerful and so provoking and everything, just to like drop it in the next season and go in a completely different direction? And that's basically what they did. Now, the one thing that bugged me about the second season that I mentioned in the first is that the format of the way they filmed it is different. It is now filmed vertically. Why? Because people always turn their phones vertical instead of horizontal when they record stuff. And because many apps now have it vertical, just the way all these young people and everybody just does it. I don't know why TVs are not vertical, they're horizontal. Then they also do split screens. It's very jarring to watch, and it's very annoying and irritating. It's just like TV is not meant to be watched that way. And not only is it vertical, but it's very centered. Like all you see the people's faces and their bodies, and that's it. You don't see nothing else that's going around. And so like, I don't know what the world they was thinking. See, this is why this show got canceled in the second season. Facebook watch shows are very rarely renewed, but this show got renewed in the first season, but you know, of course, it got canceled in the second. So, just to go over some plot threads of what happened with these characters, I'll get into Arnalda last, because since she had the most stuff to do and all this other crap. So CJ, basically him and Lexi's storylines are intertwined. Basically with him is that we hear no more about him being poor. We hear no more about his mom having to work so many hours that she can't watch the kid. Now his new storyline is him stealing those guns. Nobody knows about that except for Lexi, Ronnie, and Lexi's dad. That is it. He doesn't get in trouble for that, none like that. However, he does get in trouble for another thing. He hasn't done his community service. And so if he doesn't do that, then he gets put in juvie. So like, I don't know if Lexi's dad pulled some strings in that about the whole gun situation. Only because I say it's because nobody is blaming him for stealing those guns, not even Tosh. I don't think nobody knows. Now, however, he's been ghosting Lexi, has not talked to her in 4 months. Why? The deal he made with her dad, he threatened CJ. Basically, he'll keep him out of like the jail system and everything if he stays away from Lexi, because she's an accessory to that murder thing and made her like a felon. So, he's been ghosting her. She don't know why. She is upset. But he has to do community service, so he does stuff in the theater. And she's in the theater, so he does like the stagehand type stuff, and her dad finds out. He is pissed. He told him that, look, our deal was you stay away from her. So what does he do? Early in the episode, he's with his mom in the apartment, and he sees immigration. His mom's an illegal alien. We didn't know this in the first season. It was never brought up. So Lexi's dad turned his mom into immigration, and she gets taken away. Lexi's pissed and says she'll never talk to him again unless he reverses that, and he does. And that's the only thing going on with CJ. Other than something else, I'll get into that a little bit later. That's literally it. All that stuff from last season that made him a compelling person, just like gone, just like that. We don't see him. He doesn't even steal no more. The whole thing about him breaking Tosh's house and stealing the guns and cause Eric to die, none of that gets brought up. It's very weird just to drop that out of like nowhere. Him and Ronnie, like Ronnie still has that same role he has last season. He basically just hangs out with CJ and this other guy I'll get into a little bit later. But it's very brief. Ronnie's probably only in this show for a minute at the most. Let's get into Wallace, and he only has 1 episode. Wallace, all of a sudden, Alex is now gone. There's no mention of where he went. He's just gone. Don't know if he transferred or what. He's just gone. But, of course, Wallace has a new bully, Trey. He's this new kid. Now he's not as mean as Alex. He never beats him up. He just makes fun of him and keep talking about how, oh, you got an imaginary girlfriend and stuff. Why? Because Wallace actually does have a girlfriend, and you'll never believe who it is. Tosh. That's right. 4 months later, she is now with him. But she wants to keep it on the down low. She doesn't want nobody to know that they're dating. And so he doesn't care because they get to go to the beach. They take off all their clothes and their underwear and they splash around. And when they're at the beach, they're like a lake and they splash around the water. So he gets made fun of by Trey. And then Trey's like, you got no girlfriend. You just made her up. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll prove it. When they was making out in the car with their underwear on, he took a picture without her knowing that. And he showed it to Trey. Trey is upset because he likes Tosh. So then he teases Tosh and he's all like, oh, I heard you was hooking up with Wallace. And she's all like, him? Please, I am not that desperate. She said that not knowing he was behind her. That hurts his feelings and he no longer talks to her until she's all like, why did you tell people? That was our little secret, blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't even tell her how that dude found out that he took a picture without her knowing it and stuff. But basically they make up and now they're happily together. That is so weird, like for her to get with him, because he's the nerdy type of person. She doesn't like a nerdy person. And he's basically just like with her now. There's no, like she doesn't even know that he gave the gun to Eric that caused him to die and everything. Like there's no repercussions to all this crap that happened because it revolves around Analda. Now, also with Wallace, he sasses his new bully a lot, but he does it in a nerdy kind of way, but he never gets beat up the way he did last time. And it's weird. Jonathan is still his friend, but Jonathan's role, just like last season, he's just there to be gay and to like support Wallace. And that's literally it. He tells him, you know, him and this one dude named Ricky, he was his secret and everything because Ricky didn't want nobody knowing that he was gay, and you know sometimes that just happens and everything. So he shouldn't like dwell on the whole Tosh thing. And it's just that's all he's literally there for. He's there to snap his fingers, say some like sassy gay stuff, and like support Wallace. He's not even really a character, and he doesn't even get to beat nobody up like he did last season. That made him cool. Now his acting did get better when it comes to Jonathan, but still. Now we get to Tosh. Her whole thing this season is she's no longer like a Posh Spice type person. She's no longer caring about like wearing all this fancy jewelry and being rude to people. She's actually a lot nicer to people now. And like I said before, she's dating Wallace. Now her big thing is that she still has flashbacks of Eric, but that's all it is. Her and her mom does not get along this season. Tosh took the SATs. She's trying to get into college. She failed the SATs big time, which pisses off her mom. Her mom's all like, because of this and you wasn't focusing, you're not getting to school. And she's all like, you let yourself down. And then they get into a huge argument. They argue the entire season. Her mom is still very self-absorbed. Where her dad is, don't know. He doesn't show up at all. And so, like, she is still mad at Analda for the whole sleeping with everything, getting the baby by him. Only to find out that, nope, the baby's not his. So thank God for that, because that ruined his character. But they still let us think that last season. Now, Tosh is now getting along with Lexi because why? They're in the play together. Tosh is Juliet and Lexi is now Romeo. Now let's get into Lexi. So she doesn't understand why that CJ is ghosting her, and then she finds out, she gets mad at her dad. Now when it comes to the play, the dude who's supposed to play Romeo broke his leg. So she steps in because the teacher's all like, oh, why don't you be Romeo, a female Romeo? This is probably because like she's not playing a man, she's still playing a female. But this is all because, mainly because like hey, the actress, she's a lesbian in real life. So she probably wanted to bring out that part of her, and the writer's like, oh, you know, since you're this, let's just bring that out. That's fine. Her acting has gotten slightly better, still not as good as I wanted to be, like from Wizards of Waverly Place, probably because she's a singer and not really an actress. So, a lot of singers really don't sing that well. No, I mean, not sing that well. A lot of singers don't act that well. my head's in a different space right now. I'm trying to remember everything and stuff like that. So, her and CJ finally do talk, and they decide they're gonna secretly date so her dad won't find out. This all comes because of the teacher, Mr. Ryan. He's always touching her in inappropriate places. Her belly, getting too close, wanting her and Tosh to like get very, very close and like lingerie type stuff and for like the play. And it creeps her out. It creeps him out. He doesn't like it. Which leads us into Arnalda now. So Arnalda, Eric and her did not make a baby. You can probably guess who she made a baby with since I said about the whole Lexi thing. It's the teacher, Mr. Ryan, the dude from the theater play. Basically, he's a creepy, sly talking teacher who tricks young girls and stuff. Once again, this is in another teen drama where the teacher is dating the student. I hate this. It has been done to death. That's why I like the first season. They didn't do that crap. But anyways, he is a married man. And he tells her straight up that him and his wife are getting divorced. They still live together, separate rooms and everything. And that he wants to run away with her, that she's the only person for him. He basically tricks her into falling in love with him. So in a way, she doesn't like it when she sees him like touching other girls and getting close to other girls at school. They argue a lot. Her mom is the type of person who is neglectful and only cares about who she's dating and never there for her daughter. So she has those mommy issues and stuff. We don't know where her dad is, so I guess she probably has daddy issues as well. And so she really truly believes she's in love with this man, and she's believing everything he said about the whole running away and all this other stuff. He is the one who came up with the whole pin it on Eric thing. And Eric and her must have slept together at least once because like she wrote him a note and he seemed to have known something about that. So it must, I don't know. Anyway, so she is upset because she can't parade him around like a boyfriend. They can't even argue like a boyfriend-girlfriend couple. And so like basically her and Tosh make up. And then Tosh finds out like she's sleeping with the teacher all because she called him by the first name and got upset. Why? Because when they all went to a party together, like for the theater party at Tosh's house, his wife showed up pregnant. They both got pregnant around the same time. Yeah. So he's never gonna leave his wife. He keeps telling her that. She gets mad, talking about she's gonna like expose him, this and that. He does the whole, no, we can run away type thing and blah, blah, blah. And so she's still believing him and everything. Anyways, so after a while, Lexi finds out when she talks to Tosh because about the whole inappropriate touching thing with the teacher. They tell Arnalda this. And so they figure out a way they're going to get him back. After, when the play starts to happen, they're just going to expose him and everything, right? Now, here's the thing about this season. This season, whole thing is that all the teens are being interrogated. Why? Somebody set the theater on fire right before the play was about to start. So they never got a chance to expose him. People almost died in the fire. They don't know who set it. They think all the teens did it that I just mentioned. So they all get interrogated and they all had reasons to burn it down, but none of them did it. Turns out it was the teacher guy. See, what happened was, in the storage room, the door locks automatically because it's broken. So CJ got locked in there early in this season and he used his card to get out. So then the teacher dude says, oh, we're out of batteries. So he sends Arnalda down there to get the batteries. And then he locks her in there. He sets the place on fire because she was going to expose him. So he was hoping that she would burn to death in the fire. When Lexi is like inhaling too much smoke, he helps Lexi get out because he now has attraction to Lexi, and Analda can see this through the window. He sees Analda. He does not help her whatsoever. She almost dies until she remembers that card trick that CJ taught her about sliding a card like through the door, and so she does that and she gets out. When he wakes up, because he inhaled too much smoke too, he's in the hospital. She tells him basically, oh, this, and that. You always lie to me, and I'm going to expose you. Then she walks out. Cop comes in, arrests him for attempted murder, arson, sleeping with a minor, you name it. And so basically it ends. And that is season 2. It revolved all around her, him, and that baby. Now, I will say, yes, it was pretty powerful, but the whole her being tricked by him and manipulated by him and having a baby as a teenager at school where he's like the father and stuff. However, not only has it been done to death, it was done much better in a show called Guidance, the second season, the best season. It used to be on Hulu. It was an awesomeness TV show. They don't have it on Hulu no more for some reason, but it revolves around a similar story plot with a teacher hooking up with a teen, and it was just done a whole lot better. It was better structured about how he got exposed and how they did the whole gumshoe detective thing to figure out how he did what he did. This show just basically rushed it. This second season is not good in my opinion. It's pretty terrible how people basically just forgot everything that happened in the season prior. Nothing gets resolved. Nobody gets in trouble. Nobody goes to jail. I don't understand what the world they was doing in this season and why it had to revolve around like this new character we barely know and like, her baby daddy drama type stuff. Oh, and I already told you how they all walk side by side in unison and stuff. Like, the guys get no story time. Wallace really got no story time. And Wallace was one of the best characters from last season because of all the stuff that was going on with him. And it's just like that got dropped for him to date Eric's ex. And it's just like, seriously, man, like, what were they thinking and stuff? Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.